AEW Collision is coming, people. So you could even say, we're on a collision course.
Is that why you wanted me here?
Yeah, wanted to tell you a joke. Well, that's it. People have tuned out already. It will, of course, see the return of CM Punk to AEW, as was confirmed on a recent episode of Dynamite. And if we are able to take all the backstage shenanigans and put them over here just for a second, I actually think it could be very helpful. Because let's face it, we could all do with a shot of the arm at the moment. And that's how Collision is going to help AEW's biggest problem. Why? Made a t-shirt. Here's why. Now look, you can say whatever you want, you can climb to the highest mountain or you can go to the depths of the sea, but CM Punk is a draw and CM Punk brings eyes onto your project. I know he doesn't come without some controversy, but a fact is a fact and that is a fact. So the goal will be to drive interest in the same way as we did when Punk arrived on that first Rampage and everybody lost their mind. But when we get to part 2, there's another way to resurge everything. Once again, it all starts with Collision. If we go back to 2019 when AEW was born into this world, most of the people we considered stars were in the WWE. That just makes perfect sense. It's why when they got Chris Jericho and he was like, oh man, I gotta make sure that I make stars of the talent we do have, it made all the sense in the world. It was not 2 + 2 = potato. So Tony Khan was hiring people that were flipping awesome, and if you were a super duper mega nerd, you may recognize them, but otherwise, if you were just sat there flipping through your TV, you didn't know an MJF, you didn't know a Darby Allin, you didn't know a Jungle Boy. It was up to AEW to go, I know you don't understand who these people are, but trust me, they rock. And they did. It's something that I personally really enjoy seeing because you actually get to see performers evolve in real time. So it's Pokemon. And the last time I checked, Pokemon makes a lot of money. There was a lot of trial and error here because there has to be. You don't know who is going to sink and who is going to swim. And there were a few people that got to the end of their contracts and very sadly it was like, well, this isn't really clicking, so we have to say goodbye. But let's also put out there, apart from the odd exception, Tony Khan has always got to the end of somebody's deal before he does let them go. That must be a nice, air of confidence if you are a professional wrestler, because in WWE, 1 week you can be the world champion, and the next week they can go, ta-ta, we don't want you anymore. So it does instill confidence in your performers, which probably leads to a better emotional connection and doing a better job. If I know I can waltz to the ring and a 5-year deal means a 5-year deal, I'm not going to be as worried in my tum-tum. And that's not just wrestling, that is life, and do not forget what happened during the pandemic era. If all of a sudden AEW did have to release some people, I think we'd all be like, oh man, well I do understand this, but Tony Khan didn't. In fact, he tried to give even more opportunities to people. That deserves a massive round of applause. I mean, screw grappling, that's just nice. Now all of this has led to quite the roster, and while I'm not 100% sure, I do think there's over 200 wrestlers on the books right now, and it doesn't take a mathematical genius to work out, that is an awful lot. I don't think I even know 200 people. And we do have varying levels of skill when you do go through those people, but this is why Collision is going to help. Because we all know we have AEW Dynamite, that's going to be essentially the same as WWE Raw. But if we can take Collision and essentially turn it into a WWE SmackDown, where you as a fan is like, well, I have to watch Raw, and I have to watch SmackDown, therefore I have to watch Dynamite, and I have to watch Collision, all of a sudden you're going to be able to build new stars because you have a platform that people believe in. It also means if you do have some people you want to turn into main eventers, now we have a new program to do it. It's right there. 2 hours on Saturday night, 8 to 10 Eastern time. Whatever it is, I don't know, I live in stupid bread. But this all means that Rampage is essentially going to become what AEW Dark used to be, but this also rocks as it goes back to what I've just been talking about. You are going to have some people near the bottom of the card that you want to develop and you want to improve, but you want to make sure they're doing it on television. It's great to work the indie scene and get in your reps, but all of a sudden when you do have a camera in your face, you're going to be like, I don't know what I meant to do. So if now you can tell your audience, oh hi, this is essentially our developmental program, you can allow people to develop. That's why I find it absolutely flabbergasting where people point the finger at NXT like, well, that person looks pretty green. Yeah, it's because they're green, they've only been wrestling 7 minutes. This all leads into the stories that AEW has been trying to tell, because while they do a very good job, some of these just fall through the cracks. The biggest piece of evidence being Keith Lee versus Swerve Strickland. This started in October 2022, and I'm stood here right now on the 1st of June 2023, and we still haven't seen a one-on-one match. And given that there was a Dynamite last time, as these words are coming out of my mouth, now it looks like Swerve is feuding with Orange Cassidy. I don't know what's going on anymore. If this new structure was in place though, I would bet my ass, which would be a terrible idea because I need my ass, that we would have done it on Collision because we just have more time. And that's what I'm trying to get through here. My lovely friends out there in YouTube land, this is exactly what AEW needs. Not just a random extra 2 hours where we don't care, 2 hours of prime material so we can pay off feuds and we can build people up to the top. This isn't just about wrestling in a ring either, as important as that is. You can go through any single promotion throughout the annals of time and you've got to be able to cut a good promo and you have to learn how to talk. So once again, if there's more time to do this, you can give somebody a microphone, they can go out there, they can shib the bed, but then they come backstage, you give them a hug and say, look, that was absolutely terrible, let's work on it. I mean, look at someone like MJF. That dude deliberately never wrestles so that when he does, it feels special, but he spends all of his time doing promos and talking on a microphone. And now, as far as I'm concerned, he's not only one of the best people in the company, but he's one of the best wrestlers on the entire planet. And I ain't even talking about his in-ring skills, which he does have. I just mean the overall presentation. I think it's brilliant. Really though, Collision does give AEW quite the opportunity to hit the reset button, especially when it comes to this hard brand split or a soft brand split, or whatever we're talking about. But it does seem likely you'll get certain characters affiliated with one of the two programs. And I say good. Because as already teased, it means we can finally get Miro going again, and I need that in my life because I love that man so much. But then there's Andrade, then there's Thunder Rosa, and it also sounds like we've earmarked Powerhouse Hobbs for a big push, which is why he has vanished from Dynamite. Now, this is just a small short-term problem, but when Collision does kick off, if Powerhouse Hobbs is basically near the top of the card, I'm gonna do the dance of joy. It also sounds like CM Punk's first program may actually be against Samoa Joe, and if you're an old school geek like me, that makes you go weak at the knees. So once again, there's just so many extra pieces of the puzzle that we can finally put together. Wouldn't surprise me if Professor Layton turned up. So if it does go the way intended, it's only going to be of huge assistance because every single name that just came out of my mouth is a star. And if we can establish them as that, well, you could do a lot worse when you're trying to reel people back in. I mean, say somebody else is like me, and all of a sudden you hear Miro is doing, I don't know, a feud with Orange Cassidy. As long as it's treated like a big deal, you've got me. I've hooked in, and even on a Saturday night, I'll hit the damn button on the remote control. I mean, I also think there's going to be a bunch of people that we haven't even mentioned here or we haven't even thought of that start to fly just because there's more freedom to do so. And let's not forget about the bigger picture here. Warner Brothers Discovery going, AEW, would you like some more TV content? It's not a bad thing. It's not a negative thing. It's a very good thing. It means they're happy to be on board with them and they're going to broadcast more of their shows. And if you are out there going, yeah, AEW is failing, well, my friend, you're crazy. And some people actually think that too, and all I have to say about that is shrug emoji. Also, you shouldn't want any wrestling company to crumble, because that affects the wrestlers, and ultimately, it's going to affect you. Now, by the time you see this, I would imagine that Collision is only but 1 or 2 weeks away from launching, so what I need you to do is get in those comments down there and let me know what you think about the show. Is it going to be a big deal? Is it going to be a small deal? And how is CM Punk going to integrate himself back into proceedings? I'll tell you the best bit about all of it. This is going to be boring. It is most definitely going to go one of 2 ways. Also, please like the video, share the video, and subscribe, and click the video that is on the screen right now. It's probably an ups and downs for an AEW show, so you can get my take on what they have been doing, and we have news articles on whatculture.com so you can stay up to date. And we're on social media. Of course we are, it's 2023, at TimeMeta316, and at WhatCulture WWE. Come and say hello.